Hey guys, we just finished up our Adinkra cloth projects, so you should have finished those up last week, at least that's what I'm hoping. And then this week we are continuing on with our Africa unit. We learned about the African Ashanti people last time when we did our Adinkra cloth, and we learned that they are famous for making their beautiful Adinkra cloth. And so now we're moving on to a new art project, still in Africa. And this is the African Mask Project. So, in various places around Africa, there are masks made. So, we talked about tribes last week, or a couple weeks ago, probably at this point. We talked about how Africa in part of it is made up of several different tribes, and different tribes are known for different things, but many of the tribes, something that they have in common is many of the tribes each have their own style of mask making, and they make these masks for various reasons. But the person in charge of making those masks is the African tribal artist. The African tribal artist training may take many years, and he learns from the tribal artist before him. So it's a job that is passed on from one person to the next. So if you were going to be the next African tribal artist, you would spend several years learning under the person who is the current tribal artist. And it often gets passed from generation to generation. So it's often a parent teaches their child, and their child becomes the next tribal artist. And the best example I can think about for this is actually my own family. Many generations ago, so great-great-great-grandpa came over to the United States from a part of Europe in between, sort of on the border of Germany and the Netherlands. And he came to the United States, and he came to Michigan, and in particular, he came to Grant. And he bought land and became a farmer. And he taught his kids how to be farmers, and some of them bought land in Grant or around Grant and became farmers. And their kids learned how to be farmers, and some of them chose to be farmers and bought their own land and became farmers in Grant as well. One of those is my grandpa, and he farmed in Grant for a lot of years. He had 5 boys. One of them is my dad, and 4 of his boys all bought their own land and became farmers. And my dad has his own land. He is his own farmer, and he had me and my sister and my brother. And my brother has learned from my dad how to be a farmer, and he is working on starting his own farm as well. And he has 3 boys, and they help around on the farm too. So those farming skills, learning how to become a farmer, got passed from grandparent to child to grandchild, and it just keeps going. And it was the same thing with the African tribal artists. They taught the next one how to make the traditional masks, and they taught the next generation how to make the traditional masks. And the tribe artist was very, very respected. That means it was a very important job. Their job was to make many masks for ceremonies. Traditionally, the masks were made for ceremonies and important celebrations, but nowadays they are also made for tourism. So something you guys may know about me, or you may not. A couple of years ago, I actually went to Africa. My husband and I bought a trip from a benefit auction to go on a safari in South Africa. And we went and we got to see a whole bunch of animals in the wild, like giraffes and zebras and lions, and it was fantastic. And before we came back home, as many of you guys do on trips, you bought some things to give to people when you get back, or you bought some things to help remember your trip by. So we bought my son a t-shirt, and we bought my parents some things for taking care of my son while we were in Africa. And we bought some other things. And one really important thing that I wanted to buy before we came back was a mask. So this is my African mask that I bought when we were in South Africa. and it is made by the Zulu tribe. So where we stayed in a place called Zulu Nyala in South Africa. And the area we were in was where the Zulu tribe lived. And this is their traditional mask that they make for their ceremonies. And nowadays, that it is made for tourism. So it's made for people who come and visit. And it even has a little hook so you can hang it on the wall. So it's not made to be worn on your face. It's a little small for that, right? It's made to hang on the wall and use as decoration. So this is now what more of these masks are made for, is for people who come and visit to help remember them, or help remember Africa when they were there. So, tourism. Okay, so the next thing I want you guys to do is, as you're looking through the next few slides, is to look at the various different shapes, sizes, patterns, designs that are on these different masks. A mask does not have to be a human mask or a person's face, right? It could be an animal mask. So your mask that you make today does not have to be a person, right? It doesn't have to be a face of a person. It could be a face of an animal. Just remember, this is only a face. So we're not doing arms, legs, bodies, anything like that. We're doing anything that's found on a face. So ears, hair, eyebrows, eyes, nose, mouth, chin, all of those things. Even a neck is okay with me. Hair, beards, mustaches, all of those things. Just no arms, legs, bodies, because that is not a mask. A mask is something that covers your face. Okay, so it should be a face. And then I believe my next video explains how to make the mask. So this is the end of this video, and make sure you guys go ahead and watch the next one so that you can watch and learn how to make our art project today. All right, guys, I'll see you then.